The WWE may have signed 2 lucrative television deals, but its ratings continue to slide. What's behind the drop in ratings? Here are 10 reasons why the WWE is rapidly losing its audience every week. Number 1. Too much product. We've all heard the saying, you can't have too much of a good thing. But that doesn't even apply here, as the current product on Raw and SmackDown Live is far from being a good thing. Raw jumped to 2 hours to help give the WWF a shot against WCW, and the rise of megastars such as Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Rock, and Mick Foley, not to mention a well-used undercard, not only made it essential viewing, but created a demand for a second 2-hour show, i.e. SmackDown. Sadly, Raw's bump from 2 hours to 3 hours was facilitated because the USA Network wanted to boost its overall ratings. The WWE had little reason to refuse, as USA reportedly gave him an extra $50 million a year for the extra hour. While the WWE has a fantastic roster, it does not use them well and has no business airing a 3-hour Raw. The days where everyone from the mid-card up had roles to play are over, and both shows are bogged down by too much filler to hold someone's attention for 1 hour, let alone 2 or 3. Number 2. Roman Reigns' continued push. This one is a no-brainer to anyone outside Titan Tower, but sadly it needs to be repeated. The WWE Universe continues to boo Roman Reigns, yet the WWE continues to push him. Even if Reigns is a top merchandise draw, there are other ways to take advantage of this attraction rather than booking him against the wishes of the majority of fans. The WWE continues pushing Roman Reigns to the detriment of others. Case in point, Braun Strowman, the monster heel that WWE fans loudly cheered over so-called babyface Roman Reigns. While Strowman eventually turned babyface, much to the delight of the crowd, the WWE ignored the storyline possibilities of turning all 3 members of the Shield heel, and instead turned Strowman heel. Strowman's heel turn may hurt his character, and this booking is an example of our next reason for the WWE's continuous decline. Number 3. Ignoring the fans. While it'd be too easy to say just look at number 2, there are numerous examples of the WWE ignoring its fans' wishes when it comes to whom they like and whom they dislike. The WWE has had so many great opportunities to push wrestlers the fans were obviously behind, only to book them poorly so fans either stopped caring or threw up their hands in disgust and watched something else. Whether it was Zack Ryder, Damien Sandow, or Rusev, the WWE has had wrestlers they could have given pushes to and seen if they could run with it. Zack Ryder was punished for daring to help get himself over, while Damien Sandow saw his chances to excel killed when he was jobbed out to The Miz during their feud. Even though Rusev Day has now split, they could still concentrate their efforts on Rusev alone, but the WWE seems determined to follow its policy of ignoring the fans. There's no telling how far any of these stars could have gone, but the WWE's willingness to ignore the fans robbed them of some potential new stars. Number 4. Endlessly repeating matches. Sadly, this isn't a problem that's begun in the last 10 years, but dates back to the Attitude Era, repeating matches ad nauseum so they lose their value. When the WWE airs a match on a pay-per-view, it shouldn't air the same match on the next night on Raw. Otherwise, what's the point of tuning into the pay-per-view? Worse yet, the 2 wrestlers shouldn't lock up week after week until the next pay-per-view. There are ways to keep the fans interested in seeing 2 wrestlers clash, but putting them together every week isn't one of them. The WWE can do something as different as putting 2 warring wrestlers into tag team matches against each other one week, but they shouldn't be fighting every week, particularly when the WWE plans on booking them together for several months. Number 5. Devalued titles. One of the biggest complaints about Brock Lesnar was that he was an absentee champion. Once upon a time, a promotion's top belt was rarely if ever defended on TV, which made it all the more important when it was defended. However, the WWE took things too far when the title changes became so rare that no one cared about seeing the Universal Championship defended. Even when Brock Lesnar was Universal Champion, there was no interest in seeing other title defenses on television, as the titles have been devalued by frequent title changes and wrestlers holding belts way out of their league. No one cares about either Raw or SmackDown secondary belts such as the US Championship and Intercontinental Championship, which makes title matches of little incentive to watch. Titles are of course a prop, but can mean a lot when fans are given a reason to feel winning one means something to a wrestler's career, and that it is a major achievement. Wrestling is constantly changing, so we're not asking for multiple-year reigns like those of Bruno Sammartino or Hulk Hogan, but title belts should hold a level of prestige so fans are glued to their seats when they're on the line, whether it's the Intercontinental Championship or the WWE Championship. Number 6. A changing market. While the recent All-In event showed there is a market for WWE alternatives, there's little doubt that WWE is going to remain at the top of the wrestling world for many years to come. Unfortunately, the WWE has many other competitors vying for their audience. When analysts discuss the WWE's ratings decline, they rarely bring up the changing world of television. Television has evolved so much over the last 20 years and now seems to be making quantum leaps in how it changes. There are more channels than ever, which means there are more choices for television viewers. That means that the fans who used to watch Raw and SmackDown live have dozens of alternatives for action. There's also the rise of streaming services such as Netflix, Hulu, and others which offer alternatives to wrestling. If the major networks of ABC, NBC, CBS, and Fox are watching their overall ratings drop because of the proliferation of alternative programming, you can be sure the WWE isn't immune to this either. This explains why both USA and Fox paid out premium bucks to the WWE for the rights to Raw and SmackDown. The shows may be losing ratings, but they're happy with the ratings they have. Whether this continues remains to be seen, an incentive for the WWE to switch from autopilot to actively guiding the direction of its programming. If the WWE's ratings decline continues, they may find themselves out of their homes at USA and Fox, leading them to seek smaller hosts or putting Raw and SmackDown on the WWE network. Number 7. Antagonistic authority angles. There are some tropes that never get old in wrestling, such as tag teams splitting up, David vs Goliath, or fundamentals like the heel turn and face turn. Then there's the authority angle, one that helped make Raw must-see television as Stone Cold Steve Austin waged war with WWF owner Vince McMahon, overcoming every trap Vince McMahon threw in front of him and beating the boss no matter how badly McMahon stacked the deck. Unfortunately, this angle has not only been done to death, but resurrected and done to death again. Authority figures aren't bad, but the evil authority figure angle needs to be retired. Number 8. 50-50 booking. In case you haven't heard the term, 50-50 booking refers to the practice of wrestlers exchanging wins when they work in a program. Truth be told, 50-50 booking has been used for decades in order to build up programs and feuds, but the problem is how often the WWE uses it. Traditionally, wrestlers might trade inconclusive victories, building their way to a blow-off match. For example, a babyface feuding with a heel might lose their initial match due to a tainted victory, such as a run-in or other heel tactics. A rematch might see a babyface gain a disqualification win or count-out win, but not the type where fans feel the babyface has earned revenge against their opponent. The two would meet in a conclusive match where the babyface triumphed with a decisive win, usually a pinfall or submission. The WWE uses 50-50 booking, but does it in a way that makes no sense. For example, a heel might lose clean to a babyface in their first match, giving no reason why fans would want to see a rematch after the heel has been decisively beat. Today's WWE, however, continues to have wrestlers trade wins, ignoring the basic rule of drama of continuing to escalate the tension between the two. Nonetheless, Triple H defended the practice in a 2017 interview with ESPN. When somebody goes, well, you just can't get people over with 50-50 booking, I always say, oh, I'm sorry, how's your territory coming? Because this one seems to be doing pretty good over here. We just had the largest Wrestlemania in history. People talk a lot of smack about ratings and things, but they don't understand all of the dynamics of everything we do. They don't. They sit on the internet and read one thing and they give their point of view. Kinda like us. There's no question that WWE has found a business model that works, but are they doing the best they can with their product? Continued ratings woes and drops in in-house audiences suggest the company could be doing even better if it was willing to address its flaws. Number 9. Scripted promos. While scripted promos arguably have helped wrestlers with limited promo skills, they've stifled talkers who could engage the audience with humor, menace, or any of the traditional assets the old school wrestlers used to talk fans into sticking around for the next match or buying a pay-per-view. When was the last time you saw a promo that made you laugh? No, we're not talking laughing at how badly someone botched their lines or how wooden the promos sounded.
And if you don't shut up, I'm gonna make you look like Ellsworth.
You need to be quiet or you're gonna start looking like Ellsworth.
When was the last time a wrestler talked so passionately about wanting revenge that you couldn't wait to see whether they delivered on their promise? And number 10, the shows don't have a must-see feel. Back during the Attitude Era, fans tuned into Monday Night Raw and Raw as War because they knew anything can happen in the WWF wasn't hyperbole, it was fact. While the WWE's current programming does have its occasional moments where fans run to YouTube to see what they missed because they're tired of sitting through 3-hour Raws that don't deliver, these are rare. Wrestlelamia understands that WWE can't return to the edgier PG-13 content of the late 90s because the company brand has changed, but it shouldn't keep them from making every show a must-see event. Who is going to get laid out? Who is going to get revenge? What outrageous promo will someone say? Who will win the big title match? None of that is there, and that sums up why the WWE continues to lose viewers week after week. Could the WWE increase its ratings? If so, how would they do it? Let us know in the comments down below, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.